Hi and welcome back to MDriven. So this piece is named Technology Gets Old, No Reason Your System Cannot Live Forever. So MDriven is about defining the perfect specification and automatically executing that in a modern tech stack in a bug-free system. Everything will get better since we have a collected structured business knowledge and we invest in knowledge only and rent the tech from MDriven, and we get an increased speed due to the fact that we don't waste time on this part, and the knowledge workers requires less training because now the knowledge workers can be where the business information is and not where the tech information is as much. Tech stacks age, so we need to produce new model executors. This one. So we've been through many already in our company's history, and now it's time again. So what differs this time is that we don't change the delivery mechanism. We still have the browser and HTML5 and CSS. So we're moving from AngularJS to Blazor as the supporting client framework. Why, you might wonder? If we still use the browser, why bother? Well, it's important to say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the AngularJS based front end for MDriven systems that we use today. In fact, this front end is acting as the specification of what the front end for MDriven systems should do. Nevertheless, there are a few shortcomings to AngularJS as such. Google has stopped supporting AngularJS as of 2022, and this is not an immediate problem, but we want to have a replacement. And AngularJS is a JavaScript framework, and JavaScript is hard to write, hard to read, hard to debug, and thus labor intensive. So we want to move away from that. And as we want to have an environment where it should be easy for you to inject your own specialized UI widgets, we did require you to use AngularJS, and we don't like the idea of asking you to build things in nowadays unsupported framework. So why did we choose Blazor? Well, we had scanned for candidates to base the MDriven frontend on. Since they must be browser based, they were mostly based on JavaScript. So JavaScript was one of the problem drivers for us. And that's why we turned to Blazor, because Blazor is based on C# compiled into WebAssembly. So this is a very good fit for us to use, since we use C# and .NET 8 in other parts of our products. Furthermore, we wanted a candidate to have a trustworthy future. So we believe that the open sourced Microsoft-backed Blazor has exactly this. We also believe that creating a great environment for UI extensions with your own UI widgets will be easier with Blazor than it was with AngularJS. So let me now walk you through the things that how it looks at this point in time. In order to verify the Blazor front end work, I've created this app that actually runs both Blazor. This is the Blazor UI and the Angular UI in two different web views, so I can watch them both. This is the Blazor one and this is the Angular one, and I can toggle between the two to see if there's any style differences or implementation differences that we need to attend to. And the model that I'm using for testing is actually one we call style check, which we have had internally but now has published in the GitHub. So it's called style check demo, and you will find it under MDriven mergeable. And of course you get here just by let me show you how to get here. You go to this one and assets, and then you re-download the things from GitHub, and you will have this, and you can apply this model. I don't suggest you should merge it into your existing application. Just use a blank model and run the Steinsiek demo to repeat the things that I'm doing here. So there's quite a lot of test cases that helps us to verify that we don't break stuff when we change stuff. And we're gonna look at some of these views. So actions and buttons, this is of course just a simple verification that things seem to work. Do you want to show the model tester? Okay, then we have a model window. So we're in Blazor, and that's good to know that we're able to do this in Blazor already. I'm going to toggle and show both. And if we, let's do it like this instead. So Blazor and then switching to Angular. And this application has working so that whenever I've changed the view in Blazor, it will automatically switch the one in Angular as well. Now I can do a toggle to see if there's any differences. Okay, I see there's a difference in how the toolbar actions are sorted. So I'm going to make a note of that. There's also a difference how this integer is left just in Angular and right just in Blazor. And this is actually an Angular bug that it should be right adjusted since it's a number. So that's the default for those. So here's an example where the Blazor client works better. Okay, now I'm Blazor again, and I'm gonna go to the next one, checkbox and switches. So this is the Blazor one. I can see already that the switches are not following the color theme. So that might be an issue, but otherwise it seems to work. And I'm going to switch to both, and I'm going to hide the left side here, and both. And you see in the Angular this color is correct, but in Blazor it isn't. So I'm gonna make a note of that as well. But otherwise it seems okay. You can save, etc. Good. I'm gonna switch again to the next one, buttons. And on Angular it looks like this, on Blazor like this. I'm gonna toggle. Yeah, I'm gonna hide the left side for comparison. This looks very much alike, but I can see that this fab with a icon in Angular is only the icon, but in Blazor it seems to be the text as well. So I'm gonna make a note of that. And datetime picker, we have I'm gonna toggle, and here we see that the datetime pickers are actually smaller in Angular, and I would say that this is an Angular bug because the datetime picker should resize as any other control, but in Angular they did not. They were always fixed with, and that has been reported as an issue, and it should be fixed in Angular. Here again we see the number with right just in Blazor as it should be. Other than that, it looks the same. Yeah. So moving on to file upload, and I need to actually switch when I'm on Blazor for this to sync. So toggle looks the same, and I can get a box to upload just like I do in Angular. Good. It's gonna say that's okay for now. Numeric inputs fields, it it's a verification that nullable is working and these are justified in the right on the right side. And as we can see, Angular has this problem, but Blazor is okay. The rendered by is a functionality where here we can see that in Angular there's a dotted line under this rendered by text. So rendered by is a functionality that allows you to make any element a button. So this is actually a rendered by, and so this actually executes an action, and this is also rendered by. And let's see how it works in Angular. But other than that, it seems to work the same. This should also be a clickable text, and in Angular it doesn't have the underline here, but it happens stuff when I click on it, and in Blazor as well. It doesn't have the underline, but I'm not sure what the correct solution is there. So I'm going to go further on to the select. Let's save and continue, and save and continue here as well. I'm gonna need to save this one before being able to go to Angular. So this is just a verification that the picker boxes work, and they seem to work. Also inside grids. Let's see how it works in Angular. Also, so I'm gonna do cancel on this, loose changes, and Blazor cancel on this and loose changes. Text fields. So this is a verification that we can have icons in front or after. We can have dynamic labels. Dynamic labels on things. We can toggle visibility. And we have the resizable text area. So I'm going to see how that looks in Angular. Looks the same. So if I toggle here, you can see it's very much the same. We also have the fail validation that will bring up some validation errors, and we have some placeholder information and also helper text. Let's see. Good. Cancel. Okay. It's gonna move on to where were we? Text fields, text field types. So this is a verification that we catch the different types that you can set on text fields. Let's see how it looks in Blazor or Angular. Looks very much the same, even though the link is rendered differently here, and also this actually shows the this shows the label rather than the data. I'm not sure why this is. I'm gonna make a note of that. And blob upload and download. Nothing. Let's see, I'm gonna switch this one. So in Angular it's actually showing something else than in Blazor. It shows the label name, I think. So that might be a thing that we need to address. And also this is rendered differently. So this is a download, but it's rendered as an upload. I'm not sure why that is really. Okay, make a note of that. And that was image upload. Then we have input fields. Again, different fields, and same issue with the time span. We can see here that before it was always rendered small, and also this was rendered small, but in Blazor they are following the rest of the controls, and I think that's correct. And this is also an issue when we don't have the label on top. The Blazor client seems to move this up, but the Angular doesn't, so I'm going to make a note of that. Modal tester. Not sure what this is supposed to do. I'm going to skip this one. So data table. If we have an editable data table, it seems to work. And here we can see things like multi-select, etc. And in Angular, it pretty much looks the same. It's very cramped because the screen is too small. So I guess if I can help it along a bit, but it's still too cramped. Yeah, we have some issue with the file download as we've seen before, so I'm going to make a note of that. So this was a editable data table. I'm going to do a read only one now. It looks like this, and in Angular it looks like this, and toggle between the two. Yeah, it's something with the button. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna make a note of that as well. New text elements. See what they look like this. Okay, and toggle. They look fairly the same, but we have the issue with the shrinking control when their label isn't there. I think that's wrong in Blazor, so I'm gonna make a note of that. And table actions. Yeah, actually I need to be here to switch it. Okay, so here we have an issue with buttons rendered in grid, so that might be a generic thing that we need to check for the Blazor client. Good. Moving on to some other test cases. Switch in Blazor. So hide column. So the URL column is hidden, and also here we have an icon button. Okay, that's the same issue as buttons in grids overall, I think, because it doesn't show here. Okay, and another test case, we have a seeker. So we have search, and if we change the seeker length to 3 or the page length to 3, we would expect to see these as paging, and we would expect to be able to step through pages. And let's test that in Angular. I'm going to search. I'm going to switch this to 3, and search, and we get also the page. So that seems okay, but yeah. And this one is gray. I haven't really figured out. It has something to do which one we actually it's some work to do here, but if we try this to hide the email, that works. And also we have this check them all, and also the checkbox selection, and let's see, it actually writes out the selected ones. Up here, so we can see that's multi-select works. And if I switch to Angular and check these ones, should be the same. Okay, good. So, and headers, so this is some test for doing styling. Again, I switched the wrong one. Headers. So this seems a bit off. This has actually 2 columns and more columns, but it doesn't have that here. I'm gonna need to check that. Also, what happens when there's a component that isn't rendered seems to differ. HTML transform seems to work in Blazor and equally in Angular. Show seeker in show seeker in modal. Can I bring up a modal with a seeker? And I can. Input in modal and class 1 in modal. That's all good. Can I do the same in Angular? Yes, I can. So that looks fairly the same. Good. Switching to Angular, switching to next test case. So this one doesn't seem to have been implemented. Gonna watch it in Angular. It's the same thing, so it's a model thing. Theme work. So this is the ability to change colors in runtime. And I can switch to another theme, and this is actually new. Instruct server to reset CSS, and after doing that I'm supposed to do an F5, so I can see that the colors are applied. Let's see if that works in Angular as well. Yes, so I'm going to switch it off in Angular and refreshing, and head back to Blazor and refreshing. And this is an error I get from the MAUI web view, so I'm not going to bother with that at this point. And the tiny MCE, of course, it's dependent on a control. I'm not going to show that today. Show upload. Yes, let's see, toggle. Hide the menu. It's something with the upload file. Yeah, this one is definitely rendering differently. I'm not sure that Blazor is like this and Angular is like that. Yeah, there's something going on. Client sorting, table with pop-up, table with pop-up. What is that? Then test cases, table with pop-up. Yeah, pop-up class. So I can do some pop-up things, and in Angular I can, yeah, and the pop-up shows where you clicked, but in Blazor the pop-up currently shows in the middle of screen. And yeah, access groups is a good test case because it's quite important that this works. So show test for yeah, GA, I'm not sure what it's, so I'm gonna toggle, now it's enabled and disabled, and visibility on and off. So that seems to work in Blazor. I'm gonna toggle to Angular to see if, I'm gonna fold down this menu and toggle. So now it's visible. Yeah, so that's a difference, that whenever this changes, the menu folds, but it doesn't do that in Blazor. I'm not sure that's an error, but that's a difference anyway. Okay, good. Yeah, and then we're gonna head, this is just a view to ensure that you have the data available to run this test model. And then on this layout we're gonna test, I'm gonna switch to add items in table. So this is a full grid full view table, and it seems to be okay. And if I switch to here and also add items, it's equally okay. Several tables next to each other. Yeah, oh god, it's hard to remember where to do this. So, and toggle between these two. Of course the data is different, but otherwise it seems very good. And what we can see here, this is using placing containers to, I think at least, or maybe this is the placing container. So what we expect to see here is, yeah, I'm gonna do this on placing containers. And what we so toggle between these two, I can see that there's a difference here. I'm not sure why that is. The Blazor in a grid is not consuming as much space as the Angular one. So I'm gonna do a note of this. But here is a list view, and that seems to work equally good in Blazor and Angular. And these are probably wrapping, so if I go like this, they should fold, and they do in Blazor, and they also do that in Angular, and that's exactly the same. So it's very little change here except this grid. Okay, and let's, this one I can skip. This one, not sure what we want to show with that one. And here we have a touching the bottom, then the grid should follow along, and it does. And let's see how it behaves here. So in the Blazor we don't have this horizontal scroll bar, but we do in Angular, and I would say that in this case the Blazor one is better. Yeah, So that's pretty much it for this test case. If you want to test out how Blazor works for you in your system, you're very welcome. You need to put in this setting in the sys-MDriven MISC settings singleton and the global Blazor client boolean, and you need to put that to true. And once you have done that, I'm gonna switch to a browser here to see. If that setting is on and you go to pages, it will not direct to app hashtag as it did for Angular. Instead it will direct to MD, which is the controller for the Blazor things. So to switch between the two, I can simply type app and then I'm in Angular. So how do I know that I'm in Blazor or Angular? It's quite easy to see the difference in the generated page, where the Blazor page is much cleaner and less cluttered with things than if I go to the app hashtag buttons and inspect that. There are more things, and the Angular comments are all over the place, so that's easy to see which one is actually executing. So in the wiki, it is described. Yeah, this is the old article I was looking for. The setting is MDriven MISC setting singleton. Here it's described that this one must be set and what it's called. And if that value is found to be true, then main menus will go to the actually it will try to stay where it started. So once you've started on one controller, it will try to stay there. So now main menus will navigate to the MD controller. Good, and you can give that a try, and we will continue to work on this and fill you in as we do. Thank you for listening.